No Jumper, coolest podcast in the world. And today we got a legendary man in the building, JPEG Mafia.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
How you doing?
I'm good. Been arguing with women all morning.
Really?
So I'm in a weird headspace, but yeah, I'm good.
That's interesting. That's good to know you're out here just like having human experiences like that, because listening to your music, sometimes it's like, it's hard for me to imagine what your life is actually like.
Right now, my life is pretty boring, but it used to be pretty hectic. But I mostly just talk about shit from that perspective. But yeah, right now, I mean, I'm 30. I'm old, so like I just do 30-year-old shit.
Right. So your wild days are behind you. You really feel that way?
Kinda, a little bit. Like when I was talking to somebody about this the other day. But if I had the shit that kids have now, like TikTok and et cetera, like when I was like in high school,
right.
it could have been a whole different thing for me.
Right.
But like, yeah, now I don't really do much now.
There's like infinite creative outlets for them. And when I think about my childhood, I was really like looking for anything like that. You know, I wanted to have a voice. I wanted to make content. I wanted to, you know, without really understanding that, because it was just so much harder to do that.
Yeah, back when like the internet was more barren back in the day. It was like, you remember like rotten.com and shit like that? Like it was like, that was the most interesting thing online at the time when I was a kid. You know what I mean? Now it's like, that shit is nothing. No, people wouldn't bat an eye at no shit like that. But yeah, if I was in high school with like all the shit you could do now, making a YouTube page,
right,
I could have probably been famous for something else.
And I see that, like, I'll see a meme page for the most fucking random thing of, you know, a fan page of some artist, and it'll have like 50,000 followers just from making memes about this artist.
Consistency.
It
you just
blows
gotta
my
keep
mind.
it up. There's a dude who sends me he sends celebrities Legos on Instagram every day. He's like, I'm gonna send every celebrity a Lego for 100 days. And he has a certain amount of followers just because he's consistent.
Wow.
It doesn't even mean shit.
Right.
But yeah.
But is being an influencer and being an artist these days like too close? You seem like you probably aren't super comfortable with the fact that you, to some extent, are kind of a billboard for yourself, your content, as well as potentially other brands.
I mean, it was gonna do that anyway. You know what I mean? Like, my opinion of it doesn't really matter. It was like artist and influencer were always gonna like mix, because there's always niggas that's always like, oh, I do this, this, and this. So eventually, you know, with all the tools we have now, eventually people are gonna start doing that for real. Like, I actually do all this shit. So I don't know. It was just bound to happen. Because
you're one of the few artists that, in learning about you, that I've seen that you actually had this contentious relationship with fame, where like you felt kind of uncomfortable with it once everybody just started to gravitate towards your shit, where I feel like very few artists that I've spoken to have like the self-awareness to really get that. Yeah, I'm just too normal, to be honest. Like in my, like when I started getting any money from music, I was like 28, 29. Right. So by that time, I'm a grown-ass man. I have already lived enough life to not be fucked over or like tricked into shit. So like shit just annoys me most of the time, like in the industry. But yeah, I'm constantly thinking that when I see young artists blow up and they just sort of, their personality gets frozen in time at like 18. And they never like understand what it is to be an adult or to have to work a shitty job or whatever, and that just colors the whole rest of their life. Yeah, I had worked infinite shitty jobs. I actually did it the hard way. I guess that's why I'm just kind of like whatever now. Right. So like, you know, I was performing for years, had so many jobs. I was literally trying to make money from this for so fucking long. Right. By the time I actually started making money from it, I was just like, got it. But your music, to me, doesn't really sound like somebody trying to make money off their music. No, that wasn't the intention. Seems like you would have made a lot of different choices aesthetically, etc., if you were really just trying to get paid. A lot of the rappers I interview seem like they're just trying to make some money. Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm not just trying to get paid. I actually just like what I do. The getting paid shit is a byproduct of it. I do want money so I can live, but like I'm not out here like I just need the money. I'm only in it for the money type shit. Right. But I'm always having that conversation with people about how the older you get, the less like when you're young, when you're 18, 19, it seems like everything's about really like popularity and just meeting people and girls and being around shit, etc. And then as you get closer to your 30s, well into your 30s, things start to seem a bit more simple. I know so many people who've basically like built up a life for themselves, a platform, and then at some point in their early 30s, they just pivot out of it because they realize they're not ever going to make a significant amount of money doing that.
Yeah, that's another byproduct of just doing shit like on camera all the time. You get frozen. Like whatever people think of you, their first impression is just that's it.
Yeah.
And if their first impression of you is some shit you were doing, you were 17. That's probably difficult. Some child star shit.
Yeah, and you got a lot of eyeballs on you that are very discerning as well. Like I was watching a video of some fucking white kid with glasses just talking about your career.
I hate those videos, dude.
And I was like, it kind of says a lot about your content that people are even making these kind of videos. Because most rappers I interview just don't have this type of analysis going into their art. But it also just seemed like so much pressure because they're just talking about, like, I feel like with this project, he is fully formed. Like, this is it. I don't know how he's going to improve upon this. I'm like, wow, that's a lot of fucking pressure.
It's really not. It's people. I think the type of music I make, it's just kind of weirder and more like left field. So it's just naturally going to attract that kind of person, you know.
I feel like you attract like aspiring music journalists who want to be verbose in discussing what they are taking in, you know?
Yeah, it's so unfortunate, but yeah, I really do feel like I attract people who want to work. That's all I attract, but there's a large minority of people that are just like, just like that. And just that's a byproduct of just making weird shit. It's the same thing like what's it, like Tech Nine, the rapper Tech Nine.
Right.
Like he puts on masks and like wears shit like that, and it's just like, you're gonna attract the white kids with glasses when you do shit like that.
That's true.
So I understand. And then as far as the pressure, it's not really any pressure. People hear what I want them to hear. So if they're judging shit based on like what I've let them hear already, it's like you haven't heard what I'm doing in private. So it's like I don't really care. You know what I mean? Like you're just hearing like you're judging me based on specifically what I wanted you to.
Right.
So like you don't know anything else.
So if you have 100 songs, the ones that make it onto the project, are those going to be the ones that are more left field, or do the weirdest songs tend to not make the project?
No, the weirdest shit gets stuffed in because I already have a reputation as being like too weird for some people.
Right.
So I just tuck most of that in because it may be insecurity. But like, no, I actually try to put out shit that sounds more normal to my ears. And then when it comes out, people are just like, what is this bullshit? That happens every single time I put out something. I'm just like, this sounds like I don't know. This sounds like the Baby song or some shit like to me. Right. And then I put it out and they're just like, this is the strangest thing I've ever heard, man. Tuck it back in.
Are you just chronically bored with like mainstream popular rap for the most part?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I keep getting closer and closer to being able to admit that. So yeah.
And I don't mean it in like a old head way.
Right.
It's just actually is not interesting to me from a technical perspective.
Right.
For the most part, it's just like, I don't care. A lot of what sells right now, you probably know because you cover a lot of these dudes, but a lot of what sells now is personality.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people like, what's going on outside of this shit? You know, what your real life is. They want authenticity to like match with the rhymes, but the actual music itself is not evolving at all. Yeah. So like, it doesn't interest me.
Yeah.
It interests me on that level, like, oh, this dude's really real. But like, there's another part of me that's just like, this shit's boring on like a technical level.
Yeah, I mean, like hip hop has kind of replaced, technical competency or artistry with like successfulness and character for the most part. Those are like the easier things for the fans to sort of wrap their head around, I guess. And I also feel like it's the kind of thing where the same way that they were able to teach a computer to play chess better than any human being, it's like the algorithm will lead you to the conclusions of what music is actually going to do well. And that's why even artists who seem like they're a little bit artistic or have different aesthetic choices that they plan on making, they'll be out in the game for a couple of years and you just sort of watch their production just gravitate back towards the sort of core of rap because that's the thing that's most attractive to people,
Yeah, it usually just kind of bounces back to that. You're right. Even with me, like I probably made weirder shit back in the day, and if you listen to my stuff now, it probably sounds to someone who's been listening to me for years. This shit now probably sounds like a pop album to them. Yeah. To someone who listens to weird shit all the time. But yeah, watching
that happen to Thug throughout my life has been kind of a
Watching
wild
what?
thing. Watching Thug's career.
Oh, Thug's career?
I mean, he was the most abrasive rapper ever, and I loved him for that early on.
He's interesting because his career has gone from like people being like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
To now it's just this baseline respect that people have for him. Like, it's just like, yeah, Young Thug, you know what I mean?
Right.
And yeah, I guess like seeing that from where it was to now, it's just, people are such dick riders, yo. Because yeah, the reception to him was completely different before, but he always had people supporting him because he's always like, he's extremely talented. That's never changed. But yeah,
I mean, he was the kind of guy where honestly, even if his music sucked, I feel like he still would have been famous because he was just that endearing of a character.
He's pretty just kind of interesting outside of just music itself.
Right.
But his music is actually crazy though. Like the way he's an underrated rapper. The way he raps is like really, really weird.
Yeah, probably like the most influential rapper of like the last 10 years, I would say.
Really? You think so? Him and who? Lil B?
Yeah, but don't you feel like the shadow of Lil B has been kind of
shaken
limited?
off.
Which I feel like is a shame, but he makes no effort to be in the public eye. He doesn't do any of the stuff that you would expect somebody in his position to do, which is that's him. That's what makes him him. He's never made the choices you would have expected from him. But sometimes I feel like the younger audience has kind of lost sight of how important he was.
Yeah, he kind of has this aura of, I already did it. Like I don't have to do it. Like my influence is there. I don't have to do much.
Right.
So then I think people just respect it. But yeah, maybe Young Thug. Who else? Yeah, I can't think of what right now. But yeah, Thug would probably be the most.
Yeah, I mean we could sit here all day.
Chief
And probably
Keef.
think of some other good ones. Chief Keef, definitely for sure. Yeah, but okay, like you seem like a smart enough dude that like a lot of rappers claim that they don't read the meta commentary about themselves.
Oh, I do.
I don't believe that you would be able to ignore it. You just seem like the kind of guy who'd
They're
be
lying.
fascinated by it.
Yeah, they're all lying. No, everyone. I mean, I've been around people who are extremely famous and they read that shit. So I'm just like, I know you niggas that are under that are reading that shit. But yeah, I absolutely read it, especially if it's on my, if you at me, you know, I'm definitely going to look at it. But it gives you a general perception of what people think of you. I mean, yeah, it gives a general perception of like the idea of you out there.
Right.
Because you can think you're a certain way. Like in my head, I'm a certain way, but to people on the internet and on the outside, I'm like probably just a weirdo.
Right, but do you put a lot of thought into how you present yourself on social media? Because I feel like that's a huge part of what your brand is. And if you were acting silly on your Instagram story every day, then that basically would change the way that you're viewed, you know?
No, I get drunk and I do various drugs and I just log into my Twitter account and just do whatever. I actually hold back a lot on my Twitter.
Right.
I could easily get myself kicked out of the industry like that.
Really?
But like, yeah, easily. But no, I just, you know, do drugs and get online and say whatever.
Really? That's a mess right there. Like getting drunk and being on Twitter and just saying the craziest shit that seems funny in the moment doesn't seem like it usually works out well in the long run. Right?
This is the age we're in, though. It's like this is entertainment now. Like this is the shit I like to look at. People, real life fuckery. So I'm just like, why not? You know what I mean? And it's just like, because sometimes my life is hectic, but I just don't let people see it. But like, I just been getting closer and closer to it.
To really truly not giving a shit.
To truly not giving a shit, to get to that point.
Right. Because the thing is that you could tweet one thing that would make you way more famous for that one thing than anything you've ever done musically, because there's so much more of an appetite for gossip. If you said Kendrick Lamar could suck my ass.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like complex headlines. It's on World Star. It's on everything, you know?
It's easy. And people know that you can do that. And then so people, it's just part of the game. I just see it now. It's just entertainment is a marketing scheme now. So it's just like people are mixing real life with fake shit. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. You seen that shit going on with Freddie Gibbs and Academics. Yeah. I low key think that whole shit is fake. I don't know. I think there's some reality to it, but it just seems too like well thought out to me.
Mutually beneficial.
And like he's releasing an album and it's just like, it just seems like the new age. This just seems like some new age marketing. Like they got together and was like, I'm just gonna go in on you, you go in on me. Done. We get attention. Yeah. But I could be completely wrong. They could just genuinely hate each other.
I don't actually think that one is fake, but like, you know, people would always say that during the Trippie Red 6ix9ine beef. and I understood where they were coming from, even though I knew people who were on the inside of it, so I never really thought it was fake. But like, I saw what they meant, because you're looking at something like, if these guys are serious about wanting to kill each other, why don't they just fucking do it? It's hard for people to wrap their head around making all these videos and incriminating yourself and just giving the cops a blueprint, or if anything were to happen.
That's literally all it is. Like, the reason I thought it was fake is when I saw Freddie Gibbs like, man, I could have smoked you. I was like, oh, this is not real.
I could have smoked you during your No Jumper interview, is what he said.
Oh, is that what he said? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I was like, why would you say that?
Yeah. That so to me was like, okay, he's not going to do that.
Yeah, because, that's like you're letting him know, like, I have no intentions of doing this.
But now they're talking about boxing match. I'm like, you guys fucking serious? That's not happening.
That would be great. That would be entertaining. It would be, look, it's wrestling, bro. It would be a good way to culminate the storyline.
Yeah, but you have to fight Morrissey. That's like your defining beef throughout your career, right?
It's crazy. I don't actually have any real life. I never met him. I don't have any real life smoke with the guy. But yeah, it's just kind of become a thing because like I took an issue with some shit he said, and then now it's become its own thing. But yeah, I'd definitely fight him if he wanted to. But he boxes and shit, so he's actually fighting.
He does, but isn't he like 60 years old?
Yeah, man, that dude would wither away if I hit him.
Right. I've tried to ask some of my Mexican friends if they are even aware of any controversy surrounding Morrissey. Nope. And even the idea of me bringing it up, they're like, what? Nah. How could you say anything about it?
Yeah, no. It's serious for real.
That's what fame and good music will honestly do for you.
Yeah, it gives you the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. You feel like that's why I think you feel so free to tweet whatever the fuck you want, because your fans really love your music so much that they're just going to kind of, you can say the craziest, most reckless shit, and that kind of fits within your character, right?
But see, when I say crazy reckless shit, it's only crazy reckless to the outside. To me, I feel like I have a point. But you know, it just, I guess that's why they let me do whatever, because I'm never like you know when No Name got on Twitter and was like, fuck my white fans or some shit like that. I've never done any shit like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? I might say some crazy shit. Because I mean it at the time, but I've never just come out and be like, you know what, I'm just generally feeling like, fuck all of y'all.
Right.
Nothing specific, fuck y'all.
What's that like, though, to have to constantly kind of bottle up and hide your hatred of white people? Fresh off the top right there. I didn't write that down.
That's a beautiful question. Man, listen, man.
But okay, to be fair, a lot of rappers probably do have some kind of conflicted feeling about the fact that they have all these white kids screaming the N-word in their face every night at the show, right?
Nah, it doesn't bother me. If you come from a certain environment, you kind of know that, you know, if you have a lot of white people at your shows, if white people are consuming your product, you probably are making money. It's the reason why there's like a demand for it is because like white people, there's a lot of them in this country and they have a lot of money. And so if they're giving you their money, you're probably doing something right. That's just the way I've always seen it. You know, like when that white girl jumped on stage and said the N-word on Kendrick shit, like I was like, that motherfucker probably owns all the vinyls.
That might have been the first time that she found out she wasn't supposed to be doing that.
Straight up, because she was just probably sitting in the house listening to Kendrick all day. But it's just like, it doesn't actually bother me. I think it bothers people who like want to be perceived a certain way. They want to be seen as like a champion to a certain thing, or like they want to be perceived a certain way, and that the white fan base doesn't like it doesn't what's the word I'm looking for? It doesn't jive with that shit.
But I feel like you probably, most of your white fans are like the self-hating white fans who like if you said something about white people, they'd probably be like, yes, I agree.
It's 50-50. I think some of them are like that, and I think the rest of them are just, I don't know what it is. I have no fucking, I can't really explain it, but like I come down and talk to them after shows and I'm just like, I can't get a read on them. It's like halfway just super enthusiastic, and they just, I think some of them just like weird music, and I probably scratch an itch that they can't get.
But I remember being a kid and like going down the aggressive music rabbit hole, and you know, I'm listening to Blink 182, and then I'm listening to punk and
System of a Down and shit like
you know, new metal, and then death metal, and then black metal, and then grindcore. Those are 2020 futuristic vape pens, which you're welcome to go for. These are edibles. Yeah.
With weed in
yeah.
Okay.
Go crazy. Yeah. Those don't. That's just nicotine.
Oh yeah, I'll try one.
We have weed
if you
also.
don't mind. Yeah. I didn't bring any weed because for some reason I even though I've watched so many interviews where people are smoking, I just didn't bring weed. I was like, I can't smoke.
Right. You know, I feel you, but I also feel like a lot of people their smoking weed personality is not as good as they think it is?
Oh yeah. They're probably just like,
not that I don't think you'd have a problem with it, but I interview people frequently where they just go quiet once they hit the blunt, and it's like, what the fuck is this? Like you're acting like you do this all the time, dude.
No, I'm it's obscenely talkative when I smoke. So I apologize in advance.
No doubt.
But yeah, dude, I don't get questioned with that a lot, but every now and then I think people who want to try to get under my skin, they usually come to me with this like, you got white fans kind of thing. And it definitely doesn't. I think there's an element of it that bothers certain people, but to me, I just know what I come from, and it never really bothered me like that. But I just understand it, you know what I mean? It's not like it's not something that I sit around at night and like keeps me up. Like I go on stage and I get a check, you know what I'm saying? I get paid, and then I go home and spend that shit. Right. So at its very core, I don't give a fuck on that level, but like it doesn't bother me in any way, because I know, like, yeah, if a bunch of white people are consuming your shit, you're probably making money.
I mean, you're making them...
Not that if niggas are consuming it, you're not making money, but you get what I'm saying.
I mean, but they're coming to you on your terms.
Yeah,
It would feel different if you were, like, making music to court them, and then they're sort of, like, misinterpreting. You know, I think when Dave Chappelle left his fucking show, that was, like, his thing. He felt like his message was being manipulated, and he was not... You know, he didn't appreciate being treated this way and being promoted this way. I mean, you're basically in charge of all that, right?
Yeah. I have like control of my shit, and all that. And Dave Chappelle, yeah, he walked away from so much money just because like it actually did bother him. But I don't think it was the fans. It was like the shit in the back, right?
Yeah, you're probably right. But I mean, at a certain point, like if you're making jokes for your people, and then you realize that there's a shitload of people who are not your people who are having a good old time laughing at this, I could see how that would be, not the ideal situation.
Again, I'm just older and have more life experience than a lot of these people, so it's just like, yeah, man, like sitting around and worrying about some shit like that would do nothing for you, because at the end of the day, if you make it really successful, you're going to be attracting mostly white people anyway. Like you go to festivals, it's gonna happen. There's you know what I'm saying? Like, unless you're Tank or Lil Boosie or some shit, you're not gonna go to an arena and there's nothing but niggas there.
You should play one of those Boosie Fests that he does.
I would love to play the Boosie Fest. You don't understand. I used to go to that shit. I went to like 2 of them.
Seriously?
Yeah, man. It's in Louisiana. I used to live there.
That?
Fire.
Wow. I was thinking about hitting him up and just being like, yo, can I just slide to one of those things? I feel like I might have the time of my life.
He'd probably let you. Yeah. I mean, I don't know him personally, but he'd probably let you.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like way too fun.
It's extremely fun, man. It's all good. It's all good vibes. I would definitely play there. He'd probably never let me play there, but I definitely would play there.
Right.
Because, like, yeah.
Have you thought at all about like who's watching this? Like whether like, do you feel like you're speaking to your fans or to the No Jumper fans right now? Because it's a kind of 2 different conversations depending on who we want to speak to, right?
Probably No Jumper fans who probably either don't give a fuck or are just gonna be like whatever. And then, but everything I just said a minute ago was for my fans personally, just so they know. But yeah, the No Jumper fans or like people on the outside will probably look at this and be like, whatever, nigga. You just like white people or some shit. But
you just wanted to talk to another white person.
You just wanted to talk to another white person, you bitch ass nigga.
Collecting white people. Because like I'm kind of like paranoid about like talking about like shit that I know you've already probably covered in interviews and stuff.
Oh man, I don't fucking care.
Because like the military thing is particularly interesting to me. Like when I said I was watching this white kid with glasses make a video about you, he was talking about how your time in the military may have influenced some of the production on these records. He
doesn't know
the loud clanking and the fighting in the background. I'm like, no. That's quite an inference. Like that's a stretch. He
doesn't know. Like when you join the military, you take a test and you have to pick a job, and they give you a job actually. So like depending on your job, you will be fighting or doing this and that. But he doesn't fucking know me. He's never met me, and he doesn't know what I did in the military. He doesn't know how long I was. He doesn't know where I was. Right. So him saying that is just, he saw I was in the military and was like, military, bombs, war.
Right.
This is why his music's loud. It's so childish. You know what I'm saying? It's so
very surface level, right?
It's the most surface level shit you could possibly, but this kind of shit happens to me a lot, and I don't respond to any of it because it's pointless, you know. But like Yeah, you asking me right now, that's literally how it happens. It happens all the time. But when I first got in here, people were, Death Grips?
Yeah.
People were comparing me to Death Grips. I knew they would. Right. Even before I did anything, I knew they would. So I tried to get ahead of it.
Right.
And they still did it anyway because we're both loud and black and have a beard. And I just knew people would just put that shit together.
Yeah, when I was reading random shit to get ready to interview you, I just kept seeing them compare you to Death Grips so many times that I had to go back and like listen to them again because it'd been so many years, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is not really that similar, but they want to put it in the same box.
It's surface level shit. I said this years ago, but like, it's no offense to them, but the kind of shit I talk about, just taking the perception of me out of it, me talking about race, this and that, blah blah blah. You're comparing me talking about black people issues on wax to a band with dicks on their cover. It's not even in the same tax bracket, but yet we're smushed together just because like we might both be loud. Just because some people just aren't smart enough to get the nuance of it. And it's just like, what can you actually do with that other than just laugh at it and try to get ahead of it? Try to get ahead of it.
Do you have a relationship with them though, or is that just some other shit that you have nothing to do with?
I have no relationship with them. I never met them. I have no issue with them. I just like don't like to be compared to people just strictly because I'm black, and some of these fans don't know any black people, right? And they're just like, oh shit, 2 black people that do similar thing. There can only be one. It's like, no, motherfucker.
So you don't have like high hopes for there being like an avant-garde like hip-hop revolution or anything like that?
No, I do. I would love that.
Right.
I would welcome that. I was actually tweeting about that shit. The way that mainstream artists, like you look on any album, look on a Lil Baby album, it's the same features: Dirt, Future, Drake, et cetera, et cetera. There's a reason for that. They stick together. They come up, they make money together. They know that like all of them on the song, regardless of what that shit sound like, is gonna go.
You're gonna spread it around Spotify.
You know what I'm saying? There's an element of that in the underground with like guys like me, Earl, Danny Brown.
Right.
I would love to like mush that together because we would all come up. It would be like we're all like hunkering down in our little world instead of like we're just weirdos on the outside of mainstream, and we have our own thing going on, and a lot of people dick ride what we do. So like I think it's important that we like.
You need a union. Like the way that they have these like 90s rapper tours still. I've been to a couple of those, and it's like, it's a great vibe, and it's cool to see them like they play venues that are way fucking bigger than they would be able to play on their own when you stick Ice Cube and DJ Quick and Snoop and Game all on the same tour or whatever.
People want to come out.
You see the same thing with like the fucking Psychopathic Records type era. There's all these like Juggalo style rappers, even if they're not directly associated with ICP, and that's its own little
It's
scene.
all in the same like related artist thing.
You need your Up and Smoke tour.
Yo, that would be great. That would be incredible. Like, yo, I saw a flyer like months ago. It had like Baby Bash, Yin Yang Twins. Wow. Like, there's all these people in it. And I was like, oh my God. The old nigga in me was just like, yes, yeah. And I just wanted to go to it. I want to harness that energy for the underground, yeah. But yeah, unionizing is a different thing. That would involve rappers getting along with each other,
right,
on a widespread scale.
It's hard to imagine. No, I was standing on stage for a moment. I'm watching the people who are turning up to Exhibit or Game or whoever the fuck it was, and I'm looking out into the audience, and it's all like dudes with their shirts tucked in, and like they look like they have good solid jobs. They're like 48. They're standing with their wife, and they're just loving Snoop Dogg or Game or whatever. And it's this is the average age here is literally twice the average age at the average show that I would go to.
1000%. They're living out their whatever their youth. You know what I mean? They're just going back to that shit, but they got the money to come out. And they will support when they see people like all those like acts all in one thing. They're just like, yes, I want to be there. It makes you feel like are missing out on something. Yeah,
brings you back to that place. When you think about your biggest influences rap wise when you were a child, what comes to mind, or even just musically in general?
When I was a child, so when I was really young, I wasn't into music at all. Like when I was really young, the first song I really liked, first music I ever liked was fucking Hanson. You remember Mmmbop?
That makes me feel like we're the exact same age, because when I was like 12 or 13, that was the most popular song in the fucking world.
Shit was popping, man.
I thought one of them was a girl.
I did too. I thought they were both girls. I thought it was a group of women.
I really did.
I thought like, but yeah, the first, I didn't know anything about music, so I didn't have any context to like, oh, this is Hanson, only certain types of people listen to this, blah, blah. I just liked that shit, and I was like, I need that shit. So that's the first thing I remember liking. Somehow from there, I started listening to a bunch of random shit, and I found my way to Cameron. I don't really know how, but like Cameron, Diplomats, yeah, those are the first like rappers. Those are like probably my bass influence, like a lot of East Coast shit,
right?
AZ, a lot of like hardcore hip hop.
Cameron blew my fucking mind into a million pieces when I was like, 18 or 19 when I first heard him, because it was just like I didn't know, I'm coming off of being the biggest G-Unit fan in the world, and it's like I didn't know that a gangster rapper got to be this irreverent and funny and silly and have so many references. It was just like the polar fucking opposite of what 50 was doing, and I was just blown away. And
that's what I like about Cameron. Like I was born in New York, and like when you come from like whatever kind of environment, you no smiles, no this, no that. Yeah, I like that Cameron still kept like a sense of humor, but he was serious about his shit. Like you can't play him. He's not a goof. Right. But he can joke around. Like if you watch that fucking Killer Season movie, that shit is funny as shit. He just spits on a little girl. Yeah. He just straight up spits on her.
That was a real moment for a lot of people. Like, can I laugh at this? Can I approve of this? Like
he just spit on her, yo. It didn't have any. He didn't have to do it. He just put it in there. But like
his own movie,
in his own movie that he has complete control of. Yeah. But yeah, he's a funny dude. But yeah, I liked that about him. I think, and I think that came out with his raps, even like him rapping over the soul samples and shit. Right. They were just weird to me. Yeah. So that drew me in, the production and like his rhymes and all that shit. Like he was rapping all whimsical.
Yeah, we pulled up the lyrics to "Suck It or Not" the other day, and I was like doing like spoken word reading of that. And like just the fact that he said like, "Oh, you don't like men? Me neither. What a coinky dink." When I saw that, I'm like reading that, just thinking like I might have gone my whole life never even thinking that a rapper knew about the existence of coinky dink.
Coinky dink.
And I don't know where I know about that from. I'm sure I heard my mom say it as a kid for sure.
Man, I actually forgot that song exists, and I forgot he like.
I know it's white, like but here comes the hot sauce.
He like dropped the beat on
no
that
pause,
shit too.
No pause. He invented pause and no.
Yeah, man, Cameron, one of my favorites, one of my goats.
Right, definitely. Man, I got so many good things written down that I could just randomly bring out. What do you think of the Second Amendment? You rap about
the
guns.
Actual Second Amendment?
Yeah, you rap about guns from time to time. What are your thoughts on like the legalization?
I
or
personally,
gun control?
the legalization of it. Oh damn, you gave me like a CNN question.
Just whatever. I'm just interested in what your thoughts are on it overall.
All right, so personally, I personally think every single black person in this country should have some sort of baseline knowledge of weaponry, or like or shooting, or have somebody should in their house should have a license or something. That's just me personally, and the reason is because I think that we get shot in the street so much, and so much random shit just happens to black people all the time. We got to be armed, I think, personally. And me personally, I think I love guns. I think I own guns. I got them legally. I have a concealed carry, and like it's for defense, it makes me feel better, like when I'm just like doing my day-to-day shit. But I think that it just should be harder to get. That's all. I don't really think there should be like a widespread ban on them, because people just want to get rid of them altogether. Right. And I don't think that's realistic. There's
not gonna hundreds of millions of guns in this country.
Yeah, hundreds. And
like what are they going to do?
And I would dare say most of them are not registered at all. You know what I'm saying? So you're never really going to get rid of the guns in America. What you can do is just make it harder. It's way too easy to get a gun. Yeah. I'll just be honest about that. That's it.
I was listening to a podcast the other day with this liberal commentator saying that so many of his liberal Democratic friends are buying guns right now because their viewpoint is that they don't want the Republicans to have all the guns if some shit goes down. Which seems like a pretty reasonable.
They already have them. Like, all these crazy militias and shit, they've been had guns since before any of us was thinking about that shit. Since before I was born. They got bunkers, man. They got fucking rice and shit stuffed up. They got dried up food. They're ready to go. So it's like, you trying to play catch up in 2021 to these kind of people is not going to be possible. But like, that's great that people are waking up to it now, because I know a lot of people are just like, nah, no guns, I don't like guns, blah blah blah. But I really think it should just be harder to get them, instead of it just being like, it's just too easy. That's all. It's just way too simple to get them and easy. And if it was just like harder screening, like more like things to like detect these crazy ass people who actually go out and do crazy shit with them, it would be a lot better. But I don't think there needs to be a widespread ban on them. That's just my opinion though, personally. As an owner, personally, that's my opinion. But
I mean, it's crazy when you see people who are really immersed in like gun culture, like this fucking kid who shot up at school the other day, and then they're showing his parents buying him the gun. They're displaying it on social media. The mom, so he gets caught looking at ammunition in class on his phone, and the teacher tells his mom, and then his mom doesn't even respond, hears the voicemail, and texts her son and says, "You need to get better at not getting caught." That was a wild moment for me. Like, am I really reading this? Like, is this really how this went down? And granted, they got charged with manslaughter, which I guess is nice.
Yeah, they had to, because like their negligence is literally what led to that, because they could have stopped that so many times. I was looking at that shit too. Like what happened? Like they caught the kid in school doing some shit, like drawing some crazy shit, and they called the parents.
They let him go back to class, and then he started shooting everybody.
It's like it could have been stopped at so many levels, and it could have been stopped at a parenting level, but the parents are just shit parents, really, and they were just like, whatever. And it's just like, if you're going to be obsessed with guns and whatever, that's cool, but like, you can't just, because of your negligence, like, all these kids died because of your kid. Now your ass is in jail. So it's just like, all you had to do was not everything you did.
Yeah. Like, they really managed to fuck up every last thing that you could have potentially done there.
They did everything wrong. Like, down to the day of it happening, they did everything wrong. So it's just like...
When I was 16, I was in a photography class, and I took a picture of a dead squirrel, like, that had been run over by a car. And then it's getting developed, and the teacher sees that I'm taking a picture of this dead animal. And I've come to learn that torturing animals is like one of the biggest signs that somebody's going to become a killer.
Yeah, it's like a sign of a sociopath.
Yeah, so they reported me. I had to go to the office. They're doing all kinds of, they're making me do all these reviews and stuff. And I'm like, do you think that I actually ran a fucking squirrel over with my car? Even if I wanted to do that, nobody could do that unless you trapped it and held it in place.
Yeah, you'd have to really be like, you'd have to sit outside all day and like keep attempting that.
Yeah, just drive up and down the street all day until you murk something.
That would be like content.
But that was 1999 or something, and that was how concerned they were about that. And then when I hear that story about that kid, I'm just like it's just dumbass. It's like the people you saw that were crazy and stupid when we were younger, they grow up and have kids. I'm realizing that now as I get older. I'm like, oh, you don't get smarter. Right. Like if you're dumb right now and you're crazy as shit and don't got your shit together, when you're 40 or 50 and you're having kids, you just pass that shit down. So like, the parents are crazy. That is what's scary. Crazy. You see a lot of shit these days, and it's like, Jesus Christ, you're passing that down to your kids. Like, I know a girl who's fully into QAnon, and she just had a baby, and I'm just like,
hell yeah.
That seems like you're just legitimately abusing your child because of the fact that you're going to one day tell him that that's how the world works. That's scary.
I mean, bro, that QAnon shit is just hilarious to me.
Yeah.
Because it's just...
Because you have a little bit of a right-wing media obsession, right? Would you characterize it as an obsession or just a fringe interest?
It's not really... I guess it is kind of an obsession. I just find it interesting. Yeah. Because they're so crazy. Like, and nothing they does... Like, all they do is... The only thing they're looking out for is themselves, and they'll say anything to support that. So their views and everything just shift depending on the situation. Right. And just as somebody who's seen it for years, just watching it is just straight up entertaining. Right. I'm not gonna lie, it's just entertaining. So
I've always been like that. As soon as I could even change the TV channel, when I'm thinking when I was like 18 and I moved out of the house, I was watching like Bill O'Reilly and shit because it was way more interesting.
Cameron was on fucking Bill O'Reilly. Yeah. Like, I know you, doggy. I got like
you mad.
It's classic. Like I said this to somebody before, but I showed them like two like political analysts arguing, and then I showed them like one of 6ix9ine's Instagram lives, and I said, "Tell me the difference."
Better audio, better production.
Literally, 6ix9ine's gonna have better audio, but it's like there's no actual difference. It's the same shit. So that's what I get out of it. It's like fuckery from like business people who are pretending to not be like ghetto.
Yeah, it's a weird world. But is there anybody that you particularly like in that world that you sort of hate watch or that you just find particularly fascinating?
I used to hate watch Alex Jones, but I stopped hate watching him because he became kind of entertaining.
Yeah.
Like I started like kind of liking him. Not what he was saying, but I was like looking forward to him. I was like, yo, this dude is out of his mind. He's always selling like crazy shit like soap. It's like a futuristic soap that'll keep the liberals off you.
Well, I mean, but he got canceled by YouTube and everywhere else, so he kind of has to.
He got canceled?
Well, they took away his YouTube channel and shit. And Twitter and everything. So really, he kind of has to sell these products. Like, he's not gonna be able to get advertising from almost any brand. He kind of has to sell his own vitamins.
He got real life canceled then.
Yeah,
shit.
They got his ass.
I guess. I don't really like watching him, but I guess Tucker Carlson or some shit.
Yeah.
But I just see him on Twitter. I don't like watch his show.
I go through phases with these guys where like I had like a month of Ben Shapiro. And then I felt like I'd seen it all and that I wasn't learning anything about his worldview, that I got it. And then I just kind of moved on.
I'd love to debate that guy, man, because he's just like, it's like his viewpoints are just, they have just enough shit that makes it make enough sense so that someone stupid can think it's genius.
Right.
So it's just like, he just needs to be put in front of someone who sees past that.
You ever think that black people will embrace the Republican Party? Sometimes I wonder if it's on the way. Because you see the Mexicans support the Republican Party like crazy in America.
I think that black people will get tired of getting fucked over by the Democrats at some point. I don't know if that'll shift to Republicans, because Republicans are just, a lot of Republicans are just more outright racist. Yeah. So like it will be harder for black people to jive with like.
But I feel like the vast majority of modern Republicans, if somebody seems like they're on their side, they will welcome them in. Like Candace Owens doesn't seem like she's having any trouble getting accepted in this world, even though she's way more far gone than a lot of these Republicans.
I think she's going to be a president one day, bro. I really do. But yeah, I don't think so. I don't think black people will ever embrace, but who knows? They did at one point back in the day, but it was different.
Like I saw a thing the other day that said that 2% of Hispanic people like being called Latinx. That to me just really made me feel like the Democrats are not knowing their audience right now.
Nah, man. It's like they just don't. And there's no way they're so disconnected from what's actually going on. It's actually funny to watch sometimes. So like, it's like you want them to do the right thing. It's like you want them to like be better, but they just don't know how. It's like Joe Biden is 9,700 years old. There's no way he can connect with anything going on, but he'll say he will. Yeah, you know, he was at Roscoe's before the election. He's not at Roscoe's now.
That's a good point.
And he won't be back. And nothing that's going on with black people concerns him at the moment.
When was the last time you went to Roscoe's?
Right before the election. He was at Roscoe's.
You went to see him?
No, I didn't go to see him. He was just like, what's up, it's me, Joe. I'm at Roscoe's just casually. I go here all the time.
Yeah, this is my usual spot.
And then he was on the Breakfast Club. He did all the urban shit. You know?
Yeah, and Joe Rogan wouldn't have him on. He said no, which I thought was pretty funny.
It's not urban enough for him.
He had, but he didn't have Trump either. He had Bernie Sanders on.
Really?
Yeah.
That's kind of weird. That's like the extreme version of, okay. I mean,
I feel like the more extreme left or right you get on a similar plane.
I don't know much about him, you know. I don't really watch him. Like
Joe Rogan?
Yeah, people think I watch him, but I don't. I don't have anything against him. I just never.
He's like the reason why I started podcasting. But the older I get, the more and more I feel like I'm listening to my old ass grandpa just like talk about shit, and it just isn't really the same. Like when I saw him ask Snoop Dogg if the West Coast East Coast beef was still alive, that kind of summed it up for me.
Wait, he asked him that?
Yeah.
When?
Like a couple weeks ago. I just saw the clip. I didn't watch the whole thing.
That's what's up.
And when I see that, I feel like it must be amazing to be able to do interviews where they have no expectation of you knowing what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, man. I can't believe you actually asked him that in real time.
Yeah.
That's tight. I gotta go watch that shit.
Yeah, but like somehow his character, you know, we talk about like character, like your fans expect certain things from you. Nobody expects Joe Rogan to not ask that question, so he just gets to ask that question. You know,
I mean, you can literally find that out with a quick Google search and be like, nah. But it's just like, you know,
and it's been like 25 years.
It's Shout out Joe Rogan though, because I think he's also 5'9". So shout out to him. I shout out everyone 5'9".
Really? Yeah. Royce the 5'9"? If it wasn't for him, you could have ended up adding that to your name, maybe.
Maybe so. Is that why his name is Royce the 5'9"? He's 5'9".
Yeah, right? Yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Pretty solid. Switching gears, what or who influenced your stage presence? When I was watching you perform, this is one thing I was thinking about. I never see rappers do this kind of thing on stage, so I'm wondering like who you felt like actually influenced that.
A couple people. The first one is someone you definitely don't know. It's a guy from Baltimore. His name's Abdul Ali.
Okay.
This is probably my main influence, is because when I first came to Baltimore, I went to a warehouse show and I saw Abdul performing to like 30 people maybe. I was one of them. He was just playing his songs off a laptop and just going in the crowd and performing. I'd never seen anything like that in my life. So like I started hanging out with him and I started adopting his style and I evolved into what I have now. So that's my main influence. Wow. But other than that, the guy from the main singer from Bad Brains.
Oh man, yeah. As soon as you start talking about the other dude, I started thinking in my head, I wonder how influenced he was by Bad Brains, because to me, they're like the most ahead of their time band maybe ever.
Yeah, they were way too ahead of their time, like on so many levels. Yeah, Bad Brains, this band called Fear. Fear, just a lot of punk artists, Black Flag, people like that, because they, look at their shows. It's hectic. They're out there. The vocals might sound like shit. They might fuck up, but the live element is what I want people to take from it. I'm going out there. There's no backing track. There's nothing. I'm going out there and I'm going to give it 100%. If I fuck up, if I run out of breath, you're just going to hear it.
Right.
So, like, it might not be the most beautiful sounding thing, but, like, I'm going out there and giving you 100% because, like, yeah, these are the guys, when I watched them, they were always doing that. You'll never see me up there with, like, a crazy outfit just walking around, just kind of, like, I just don't operate like that.
Right.
So, but, yeah.
Is there a time where you want to perform like that? You're on tour, you're kind of under the weather, and you're like, I want to do the Gucci Man thing and just walk back and forth with my finger in the air.
Yeah, a lot actually. I do, because it's tiring. But the thing with like Gucci Man, the reason why it works with him, because he has his authenticity and who he is backs that. So he can go up there. He doesn't have to do what I do.
Right.
You know what I mean? I go out there like I'm trying to prove myself. You know what I mean? So that's more the thing. Because it's not, I don't have nothing against people who do that shit. Because I've been to a Gucci Man show and I love it. Even though he performs nothing like me.
It's very him.
It's very him. It's like the one I went to was years ago. There was a billion niggas on stage and it was just him. He had just a song playing and everybody was rocking. Everybody was drunk. It was a good ass time. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going there expecting him to do what I do.
Right.
But people come to my shit expecting me to do that. So like I have to live up to that. And like, yeah, that's just Bad Brains and like punk artists. And when I was in Baltimore, I performed a lot of hardcore artists. So like, this is why I perform the way I do.
You were like welcomed into that scene?
Yeah. And it's not because like I wasn't trying to be in that scene. I think just the way I was performing just kind of meshed with them better than it did like a street rap scene or something like that.
You ever met Tiana Trump? And yes, whenever anyone mentions Baltimore, I have to ask them something about Tiana Trump. This is becoming a meme on the show.
No, but I remember like a lot of people were excited when she said she moved to Baltimore. That's so crazy you brought her up. Yeah, I think she lives in Baltimore or something.
She does, yeah. She's probably not from there, right? But I've seen so many videos of her just getting in arguments with random girls because she really likes like dudes, like trapper ass dudes. Like she doesn't want to live out here.
She got like locked up for like weed or something, right?
I think she was being a drug mule for somebody or trafficking packs for somebody, I believe, yeah.
Damn. And she did the time too.
That's some real shit.
Listen.
She came to my kid's 1-year birthday party.
Really?
Yeah. She was well behaved. Don't get any ideas, guys.
No, I don't know Tiana Trump.
No, okay.
I'd love to meet her.
Does just given your name, how would you rate your level of interest in NFTs?
I don't know shit about NFTs, dude.
Okay.
It's just that I wish I did, but everyone keeps coming to me being like, "Yo, you should do an NFT. You're JPEG Mafia.
Right.
You need to do an NFT." So I'm gonna have to learn about it, but I don't know anything about it. I know surface level shit, but that's it. I don't know anything about it.
I think your fans will get behind it.
They might.
You just have to make it as obnoxious as possible. Like, just really not tailor it to anything that they would actually want. Just make it your own thing. I don't know what it would look like, but there's got to be like a real asshole vibe to it of like, I'm just going to do what I want here.
It has to be like something digital, right?
Yeah.
Dude, I have too much shit that could fit that.
Do you make art in any other forms, visually, or is it just rap?
The only thing I'm good at is music.
Really?
I have vague other interests. Like I like certain other things, but music is my main like thing. I don't really like to do anything else.
Right.
Like, so yeah, no, I don't. As far as other art, I might dabble in it, but music is really like where I put my time.
I was with a dude playing poker last night who's a pro baseball player, and somebody asked him about how he ended up becoming a baseball player. They're like, you know, you played as a little kid, etc. He's like, yeah, it's pretty much all I did my entire life. And I was just thinking, like, that sounds so easy and simple if you just found this one thing that you liked when you were like 5 and then you just kept doing it.
That's it.
Became a professional, made a shitload of money, and never even had to really consider like going another path. Because for me, I just feel like anything I become interested in, there's a shelf life where it's just at some point I'm going to become interested in something else, or my interest levels are going to wane. I'm always going to be pulled in a different direction.
I don't know why I don't have that. I just music caught on to me like mad early, and I never had any interest in anything else. I can't even remember. There's things I've wanted to do here and there, but I've never ever wanted to actually do anything else seriously. Like I never actually like put down like time and effort to like researching things like I did with music.
Right, for sure. Do you fuck with Peggy Hill?
Peggy Hill
from King of the Hill?
Yeah, I do.
That's like my favorite character on any cartoon ever.
I just started. I never watched that show before, and I just started watching.
Really?
It's funny as shit. It's actually. I don't know why I actually wasn't watching it before.
That's my happy place. Like if I'm stressed out or whatever, sense. And it's like if I have like 20 minutes before I go to bed, I'm putting on King of the Hill, and it just sort of grounds me. There's something, and I have spent very little time in the American South, but something about it just really just feels very pure.
It's like it's very rednecky and white trashy.
Yeah,
and those are things I thoroughly enjoy. So.
I definitely grew up white trash, but I just didn't grow up around rednecks, so it does feel kind of foreign to me. A lot of it.
I grew up around rednecks,
yeah,
and white trash.
Right.
I grew up around straight juggalo ass motherfucker.
Really?
Not grew up around it, but there was actually I didn't grow up around them. My teenage years were spent around a lot of these types. That's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
From the state that I grew up in, there was at one point like a gang, a federal gang, shutdown of a juggalo gang.
Yeah.
Because
the FBI says there's a real
the frats and the juggalos were going to war in this one area. Like the frat boys and the juggalos had a huge beef.
They were actually like warring. Like they were like, damn.
And it only freaks me out too because it happened in this area called Keene. And when I graduated high school, my parents convinced me to go to one college to tour it to see what I thought of it. And before I was just like, I can't do this. And it was there. So I know where this battle took place.
You saying it like it's a civil war or some shit. It's like this battle, like they showed up with like swords and shit, and they just went to war.
I wonder if I had been living there, who I would have sided with. Because now I feel like I could really vibe with the Juggalos, but
yeah, I fuck with I fuck with Juggalos. Some people don't like them, but every time I meet a Juggalo, they're always like really nice and not really concerned with anything but insane clown posse. So I don't really see a problem.
They definitely don't have the elitist gene.
Not at all, dude. They're just like bumping ICP and going about their business.
Yeah.
So like,
but what's crazy is I just interviewed Violent J, and he's kind of going through some health problems and stuff, and they're like slowing down a lot with the touring, and that was really weird for me to realize, like, oh, they're slowing down with touring, but there will be a day where ICP no longer exists.
Yeah.
I have never really known a world. Well, I guess I did, but I was like 12 when I found out about ICP, so I've never really had to imagine a world without them as an adult.
Well, it's happening, man. Getting older, and everything we loved before is fading away. It's just the way it is. I've started to notice shit like that too, and I'm just like, I've just gotten desensitized to it, I guess.
Yeah, Bob Dole's dead.
Yeah, that shit was crazy. It's like
I don't even know that.
I don't even know why I laughed at that, but like
I just know I remember as a kid like being fully convinced that this guy was a terrible dude and Clinton was the best, and I'm rooting for Clinton. I don't know why. But
because Clinton was like cooler. He played sax.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. That's what got him over. Like
we both immediately thought of the saxophone.
Sax, bro.
Yeah.
Like he played sax, and it just like he got the benefit of the doubt for niggas for years.
Fuck those war crimes. That guy could play a mean saxophone.
He just like that's all it took. It's crazy as shit.
I know the context too, because he's there with Arsenio Hall.
Yeah, I see. He's on Arsenio, and he was like Arsenio was like the show, the urban show at the time, and like but that's all it took. Joe Biden. When I told you the Joe Biden and the Roscoe shit, that's what he was trying to do. He was trying to like create a sax moment, but it's
I don't think. From my perspective, I don't think any love was lost for Bill Clinton when he got some top in the Oval Office.
More.
That was some legendary shit. What an asshole. How dare he?
Look back at the look back at, I don't know, comedians and whatever late night shows and shit back at the time. They were with it. They were like, come on, man. He just got, you know what I mean? Like nobody was actually mad at him.
Right. It's kind of astounding that Trump didn't have anything like that. Because I feel like that's way more of a him thing.
He's probably just better at hiding it.
Yeah, definitely.
He's probably just way better at hiding it.
We still don't really know what's going on with the Epstein's girl case, because apparently Trump keeps getting implicated in that, but I haven't really heard too much.
Yeah,
about
every time I look at it, it's like somebody and Trump, and I'm just like, man, this dude's popping up way more than I thought he would.
Right.
But he's just better at hiding it.
He was on that plane.
Yo.
They were out there on that plane.
Fucking Smokey was on that shit too.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Okay. This was a bar that I just felt like I needed to write down and just throw out there. Covered in money, they thinking I strip. My pops was a ghost and my partners ain't shit.
Yep.
What was going through your head when you wrote that? That really stood out to me.
So covered in money, they thinking I strip.
Pause, of course.
I'm just playing with the idea that like, I just came up with some money. Niggas must be thinking I'm stripping. I was just playing around, really. But like the second part, my pops was never. It's just a way of saying like my father wasn't around, and a lot of my partners can't be trusted. That's basically what I was just portraying paranoia, I guess.
But do you feel that way? Like a lot of the people that you grew up around and stuff, that you can't necessarily have the same kind of trust that you might have had before?
I have people that's been in my life for a long time that I still trust and I'm still around, but there's some people that I've met along the way that their entire perception of me has switched up, maybe due to like what I do or like just something random. Right. But yeah, that's kind of where it came from, just like having people I thought I could trust, like, do something to betray that. And I just kind of wrapped it up without being specific.
Right. I like it. This is another one I wrote down.
What you got?
I only rap out of spite.
Yeah.
Loss is the theme of my life.
Hell yeah. These are good. This is also true. This
is me being a nerd sitting at home listening to the album and reading through it on Rap Genius at the same time, because it's hard to make out some of it.
Oh my god, I fucking hate that site. They fuck my lyrics up so much. And all these like little critics and stuff, this is where they get all their information from. They don't actually look into anything, so they just Rap Genius real quick. So if some bullshit is there, it's like it becomes fact, and I'm just like, ugh.
If we were still in the CD era, would you be putting your full lyrics in the CD booklets like bands sometimes do?
Yeah. I love that shit. I used to love that shit. I'm still, I come from that era, so like I still do that in some form. I put my lyrics up and all that shit.
Right.
What was the bar? It was I only rap out of. It's the truth, man. I'm a producer first.
Right.
When I rap, it's only out of some motivation, and it's usually to spite somebody or something. So like, if you actually listen to what I'm saying, you can hear it like very clearly. But it's like it's very rare. I'm not the type of guy to sit around and just be rapping for fun. Like I'd make music for fun, but like. Yeah, that's what that means. Is literal. Like I rap out of spite, basically.
Do you feel like rapping out of spite? Do you feel like you need to have some sort of like outside motivation aside from just I want to make money and I want to be famous?
Yes.
Where do you find it?
Spite. because otherwise I'll just make beats and I won't have anything to say really. Because like I like to keep a lot of things private. I'm not that level of a rapper where I can play around with personal shit that heavily. Sometimes I can, but for the most part I can't. So if I'm rapping, I gotta be motivated by something. I'm not just on here just like spitting for nothing. It's kind of like that. I feel like a hitman with it. It's like I'm only going out when I need to, really.
Right.
But like as far as like making beats and producing, I do that every day. I was doing that before I got here.
Really? And it'll go all night?
Maybe not, but like the point is I just enjoy doing it. You know what I mean? Like do you enjoy doing this?
Yeah.
There's a part of you that like likes doing this shit.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
Exactly. Otherwise you wouldn't be doing it. Yeah, I just like making beats. The everything else, recording, the other stuff, I need to be motivated and then I can like it. Otherwise, like I don't really find a reason to. I know that sounds weird, but that's just how I think.
I feel like my life ends up divided into two things, which is basically like creating and then just taking things in. You know, like very, very massively different segments of my brain between doing an interview and watching other interviews with that person or listening to that person's albums or watching a documentary and then actually doing something with a person that I found out about in the documentary. Those are two such polar things. And it's interesting. So like, let's say you had like a couple hours before bed.
Yeah.
Or are you more likely to like make beats than go on Netflix? And like what mood is more beneficial to either of them?
This is what I do. I get on Netflix and I'll watch something. I'll sit down and tell myself I'm going to watch this. And something in it will motivate me to just go work.
Really?
I just like do it. I just enjoy working.
It's that addictive.
To me, it is. Yeah. I don't want to. Yeah, it is. It's just it sounds like how it is.
Yeah, that says a lot though about it being that much of a draw to you. You know?
Yeah, I love it. I love it. There's nothing else that like gives me motivation more. But yeah, the rapping part, I like rapping and I appreciate like good rappers. That's why I fuck with like Denzel and people like that. But like me personally, I didn't grow up just like wanting to be a rapper.
Right.
I was always wanting to be a producer first. The rapping came because I felt like I had some shit to say or I wanted to say some shit. And I did. But like, yeah, I'm not gonna rap unless I have something to say.
How'd you meet Denzel?
He hit me up on Twitter.
Just fucking with the music.
Yeah, he was just fucking with the music. He heard a song I have called Man Purse, and he was like, I love this shit. And he wanted me to be on this song, Vengeance, with me and Zillakami.
Right.
Well, it ended up with Zillakami. At first it was just me and him.
Right.
And yeah, that's how we met. I got on the song. And it's funny because he actually sent the song back and he was like, I don't know about this one, big dog. And I was like, oh, okay, whatever. I was just going to put the verse on something else. But then he hit me back like a week later and he was like, actually, yeah, we're going to go with it. And Zillakami's on it now. And I was like, wow, that's better than I thought. That's great.
He really is an incredible talent.
He's probably one of the best rappers I've seen in real life.
Yeah.
Yeah. He doesn't write anything down. He freestyles that shit, which is even freakier. So like, yeah, he's actually like that.
It's crazy because he was right there for the whole Space Coast Perp thing, the XXXTentacion wave, being on tour with Billie Eilish.
He went to school with Trayvon Martin too.
Wow, I did not know that. That's crazy.
Yeah, something like that. Like he's been like in the middle or like not involved directly, but like in the midst of some serious shit before. Like X was staying at his house.
Yeah, that's the first time I heard X was them dissing Space Ghost together.
Yeah, the Space Ghost pussy shit.
Yeah,
that's crazy, man. Yeah, that era was really interesting. Didn't he like tattoo something? He like tattooed Space Ghost Perp. He tattooed like fuck Perp on his like wrist or something.
That's
like
when you're really living in the moment, when you hate somebody so much.
You tattoo fuck this nigga on your wrist.
That's amazing.
That's actually great. But yeah,
there's nothing like that's teenage adolescent aggression right there because. And actually, to be honest, though, I know a ton of people who have fucking gangs whacked out all over their fucking arms and shit too. So probably got around the same age. Yeah,
it's really not any really different when you really think about it. But yeah, he's been kind of around a lot of serious shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, and also, bro, this is just random as shit. But I didn't realize he's younger than I thought he was.
Really?
Yeah. Every time I talk to him, I just forget that he's not the same age as me. I feel like I've been listening to him for like 10 years.
What is he, late 20s?
Like 25.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Exactly, right?
I feel like I've known about him for, nearly 10 years.
Like
That's
a
crazy.
decade. It's like, what the fuck? He has to been rap. He had to like drop that Raider straight from my Raider shit when he was like 14 or something.
I've just seen so many like scenes go by and then he always kind of seems like he's the last one left that's still doing his thing out of those scenes. Maybe not the last, but very
like
enduring.
one of the last of a dying breed from that era.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean,
what?
Space Ghost Perp. He called me a bitch on Twitter one time, years ago.
I feel like almost everyone has gotten some bars from him at some point. Yeah.
Hell yeah. I was nobody at the time though, so I felt really like anointed.
Yeah.
I was posting pictures of like my family or something on my Twitter, and he was like, "Get this bitch ass shit off my timeline," and I was like, "Hell yeah!" I just retweeted it.
Wow.
Shit was great.
I feel like you could.
That's one of like my biggest influences musically. So I
feel like you could take on his persona if you wanted.
Perp?
Just to be like more of a troll, darker with it, and like I feel like people would just kind of let you rock like that.
You know what? When I get really old and when I just completely fall off, I can't make any more money, I'll probably just go at that route. I'm just like, I seen him beefing with all of New York the other day. Just
really?
Like, yeah, he's just like, fuck New York.
He's been deleted on Twitter so many times that I
don't even know if it's him anymore. I just every now and then I'll catch one of his tweets. I'm just like, you know what, man? I respect that you're consistent with this shit. So yeah, maybe I'll take the mantle from him like Candyman or some shit.
Every time I see like a screenshot of SGP tweet, I wonder. It's like the way like I love when they bring back all the hack tweets from all the rappers, like when Offset said "balls in my face." That's my favorite one.
Yeah, I love it. Young Thug smoking penises, all that shit.
Oh, no, he said that. We smoking penises.
Oh, he really said that?
Yeah, because that was way back in the day. And then he finally deleted the tweet like 4 or 5 years later after people kept retweeting it.
That's crazy. He really tweeted. I always thought it was fake.
No.
That's so tight.
I remember it. Smoking penises. That's my biggest regret is that I've never asked him about that on camera.
You should, yeah. That's so strange.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, that's great.
Smoking penises. I want to get that tattooed like on my back.
He tweeted that shit like 10 years ago or something too, like or some shit like that.
If there was a rapper named Smoking Penises,
that's like some SoundCloud era shit.
Yeah, time might have passed. You got anything you're pushing at this point, or like because you dropped a bunch of projects this year, right?
Yeah, I dropped the EP where I was extremely upset at a bunch of people, and then I dropped the LP last on my birthday, which is October.
Right.
And that was the last album on my contract, so I'm free now. So
who were you signed with?
Republic.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And that was a bad experience overall, or
no? My experience with Republic was fantastic.
Okay.
I actually had to be on Republic because the label before that was fucking garbage. So
really?
That's what was a bad situation.
Okay.
So, but yeah, now I'm off that whole situation.
You ready to be independent, or you feel like you need a label?
Fuck no, man. I was basically independent. Like all the shit I was doing was just on my own doing. Like I wanted to be independent because they were just in the way. Like everything I've been doing, I'm just doing it. Like they didn't really do much. They weren't spending money on advertising. They weren't like pushing things. Like they weren't really doing press like that. It's like I basically was independent.
Yeah.
I was just under the mantle of a label. So I just wanted to get off of it so nobody could tell me like, because I like to drop shit randomly sometimes, and they were always on some like, it needs to be on a playlist. You need to do this and that. And I'm just like, nigga. No. Like nobody fucking like imagine, you remember like Story of Adidon?
Yeah.
The Drake diss?
Yeah.
Imagine if he wanted to put that out, right?
Right.
But someone told him, wait, it needs to go on this playlist.
Right.
It wouldn't have hit the same, correct?
Yeah.
It's timing, or the Kendrick's Control shit. It's timing and everything. It's just like, you can't do shit like that. And also, I'm not the type of artist who's like, no one's gonna hear my shit on some like super duper curated like popular playlist and be like, whoa, what's that? They're just gonna be like, what the fuck is this? Get it away from me.
Right.
I'm not the type of thing that's gonna get attracted from playlists. People are just gonna find me.
You've never had that experience where you get put on some playlist of like maybe more experimental stuff or whatever, and you actually saw the bump where you got a bunch of fans from it?
No, because I look at raw numbers, yo. Like I don't do none of this like play like, oh, I'm more popular now. I'm like, no, how much more? It's literally. So like I look at the raw numbers, and no, I don't get a bump. I see the shit I get a bump from, and it's not any of those playlist shits. It's like you get some plays from it, but it's not enough to warrant like making a fuss out of. You know what I'm saying? But like the things that actually the place my numbers come from is just literally word of mouth or just people finding me on their own. Like as crazy as that sounds, like that's just it. It's actually just organic. So like, there's no point in that. It needs to be, things need to happen in the moment because it's gonna spread. If it's gonna spread word of mouth, it needs to spread like fast, and it doesn't need to be staggered like that. But anyway, yeah. My bad. I was talking to you like you work for me.
No, no, but I get it though for sure. It's cool to know that you know that, and it's just it feels like you are like an artist who. I feel like you're talking to me about the career of an artist in the 90s or the early 2000s where shit just spread at a different pace. Like you don't expect it to be this viral thing. It's just not that kind of work.
No, I don't. I'm not. Again, my when I say my goal is not like the fame and whatever. It's not that I don't like fame, being more popular than the average person. I'm just not shooting for some mainstream idea. Like I'm not going for that. If it happens, it happens. But like for me, I can make a living more than I'm good. I'm rich from like what I do now. So like I just want to cultivate that and make it so that like I can make money forever and people always support me. And then if that grows, that's perfect. But like I just understand like shit comes in cycles and like things happen. I just know my place, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And I want to go further, but I'm good to where I'm at right now. So yeah, I look at shit like that because it's better to know reality than walk around making an assumption or just having a big head about some shit that's not real.
Right. How often do you think about how you're going to be remembered when you're gone? Like how much of a consideration is that?
All the time, actually. I think about it. I think a lot of the stuff I do is meant to be consumed long term. Like in retrospect, you know how we discover weird music and it comes back in cycle and like shit like that. I feel like, not that I want to be one of those people, but like maybe I would be, or like I hope I would be. But like I think about it all the time because I want to be remembered. That's why I work so hard on the music, because when you're dead, unless you had a personality that was just so big, your music will be left and people will dissect it. And like, I want it to be respectable. You know what I mean? I want people to look back and be like, this motherfucker was on, people can think I'm weird, whatever right now, but I want people to look back and be like, this motherfucker was on his shit. He wasn't weird. He was just like technical as shit.
That's crazy that you could be happy right now in advance of the fact that you know that when you're gone, there's going to be some kid listening to your music and being inspired by it. And that informs your whole worldview right now, even though that hasn't happened yet. Yeah,
because it will, because it happened to me. I was inspired by like some weird motherfucker who like maybe wasn't like huge back in the day, and they made me do what I'm doing right now. So that's why I'm just excited about it. Like, you know, it happens all the time, dude. Like there's an artist named Nick Drake. He died. Nobody knew who this motherfucker was. He played a show to like 70 people and then OD'd in his house. Nobody even found him for like a day. 20 years later, they put his song in like a truck commercial or some shit. And now there's a bunch of artists that sound just like Nick Drake.
Wow.
He has his own like influence palette. But he'll never know because he fucking died thinking he's a nobody. You know what I'm saying?
That's crazy.
I just don't want to walk around thinking I'm nobody, or I didn't, you know, I'm not as big as this person or that person.
Right.
I want to be not complacent, but I want to be happy in the fact that like I might have influenced somebody to do this or that, and that's cool. And I can make enough money to do what I want to do. I'm completely satisfied.
Well, I am completely satisfied with this interview because this is a fascinating guy right here, and I like your attitude, my man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I appreciate you doing this for me, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it, man. JPEG Mafia, excellent interview. I really appreciate that, man. No Jumper, coolest podcast in the world. Check us out on YouTube and all that. Like, comment, subscribe. NoJumper.com if you want to support, and go turn my man up on services of your choice.
Yep.
I'm sure you can guess.
I don't know which camera to look at, but
something pisses me off about shouting out iTunes and Spotify at the end of every episode, you know? They don't need that. You know where the music's at.
It feels very inauthentic. Well, yeah. You can just say out everywhere. You don't have to be specific.